Yeah, the reason I have a hard time dating now is because I don't know. It's not that I don't know how to talk to women. I don't know what to say to women anymore, right? The landscape has completely changed out there. It really has. Like, I never know if I'm being chivalrous or chauvinistic. I don't know if I'm innocently flirting or aggressively promoting rape culture. Now, ladies, I'm not saying you got to put up with some of that BS and nonsense that guys do, because you shouldn't have to. You shouldn't. But when did a guy become a villain for respectfully complimenting a woman on her beauty? You know, it happened to me one night. I got done doing a show, and on my way home, I stopped at Walmart. And coming down the aisle towards me was this lady. She wasn't dolled up or anything, but she had the most beautiful smile I've ever saw. So I was like, I'm going to compliment her as she gets up to me. She got to me. I said, excuse me, miss. Sorry to bother you. I couldn't help but notice you. And I got to say, before I could say anything else, she just went off on me. She's like, seriously? Seriously? You're hitting on me in the middle of Walmart? Does it look like I got dressed up for this? She's like, what's your end game here? You want to take home some Walmart skank? And I'm like, no. I said, I just wanted to compliment you. And I was hoping it would lead to some conversation with banter. And then you'd agree to meet me with coffee, and coffee turns into dinner, which turns into another dinner, which turns into a weekend away. Now pretty soon we're in a full-blown relationship. Right? We carry that on for a couple of years before we begin to realize what we knew from this very moment, that we were made for each other. And so we get married. The first few years of marriage, everything is great. But since this is the real world and not a fairy tale, and there's no such thing as happily ever after, we have our problems. You feel I'm hanging out with my friends and drinking too much. And I'm sick and tired of listening to how Gary, the new guy at work, is so funny and such a great listener. I try to reassure myself I have nothing to worry about because A, his name is Gary, B, he's a great listener. That equals C, he's probably gay. But what happens when two people truly love and respect each other is we realize there's a crack in the foundation of our union. So we do things to repair it. We spend more time with each other. We're more open and receptive about our feelings. We do the biggest thing you can do to improve a relationship. We make personal sacrifices for one another. Now as our bond is strengthening and we don't feel we can grow any closer together as husband and wife, life shows up and proves us wrong. We end up with a couple of kids and we spend the next 18 to 24 years being pulled in 1,000 different directions, doing everything from christenings to travel leagues to college orientation. Instead of husband and wife, we're more like two employees working the opposite shift, right? Just giving each other the lowdown of the day, like, hey, the 5-year-old's being a bitch and the 4-year-old's acting like an asshole. It's your turn. I'm going golfing. But through that craziness and chaos, we managed to do something right because our kids turn out fantastic. And we even managed to save up enough money to send them to college. So now we're empty nesters, standing in a kitchen staring at one another. Not really strangers, more like acquaintances. But we find out it's great because we can fall in love with each other all over again. And then after a few more years go by, and our kids are done with college and starting beautiful families of their own, we're entering into our twilight years and planning out all the things we're going to do and the trips we're going to take. When life shows up again, it says, I have different plans. We go home that night after hearing I have something terminal, laying in bed going through all the emotions you'd go through, fear, anger, resentment. I gently lift your head up and I gaze adoringly into your eyes and I say, this is good news for Gary. Because the last thing to die in me is my sense of humor, so pretty soon our tears turn to laughter, and we come to the final feeling of acceptance. At my funeral, you'll get up and you're going to talk about all the amazing things we did together. You're going to talk about the wonderful things we were planning on doing, but unfortunately ran out of time. But the first thing you'll talk about is tonight. How a young lady came to Walmart, not looking to get picked up or hit on, but a sweet-natured guy was so taken with her smile, he couldn't help but compliment her on it. Now, ma'am, you can believe me, you can not believe me, you can even say this is corny, but that's all I was thinking. Obviously, what I said upset you, and that wasn't my intention, so I apologize. I'll let you get on with your shopping. I turned to walk away from her, and she reached out and grabbed my arm and said, wait, look, I'm sorry, I just had a rough day today. And that, ladies and gentlemen, that is actually the story of how I got a blowjob in the parking lot of Walmart. Yeah. At like 1 in the morning by some Walmart skank that I never called. Hell no. Why, so that story can come true and I get stuck raising Gary's kids? No. My life's not going down that way.